This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Now at 6, the search for an arson suspect. Police looking for the public's help now as they hope to stop him before more fires are set.
And a new way to help a family devastated by a deadly crash. How a church is hoping to bring comfort after the loss of a mother and her 2 girls.
1 year later, we hear from a woman who survived a disaster on a lake that took the lives of members of her family. More on the quest she's been on since that tragedy on the water. It is 6:01 here on your Wednesday morning. Thanks for joining us here at RTV6. I'm Lauren Casey.
And I'm Meredith Barrick. Meteorologist Todd Clausen here. When I left my house this morning, it was downpouring. I felt as though I lived in a rainforest. I couldn't believe it.
Well, you know, it's a tropical system, so it kind of is like living in a rainforest. You know, the humidity.
Minus all the exotic animals.
Yeah, exotic animals. No, didn't see any sloths on your way into work here, hanging on the power lines. But yeah, we're dealing with these downpours off and on throughout the course of the morning hours, still in spots. They're probably not as numerous as they were a couple hours ago, but you notice how spotty they are. One just to the north of Shelbyville, one just to the south, and maybe it's only about 2 miles wide. Some showers near Greensburg, up in Richmond, a heavy downpour moving just north of downtown, but it is impacting I-70 there in Wayne County, and then some more spotty downpours as you work your way south of Fishers, south of Fortville, crossing Pendleton Pike, and then eventually over into portions there of Hancock County. So it just really depends where you are. There's a good chance you could see a downpour or 2 on your way into work, but we're not dealing with widespread rain across the area. And from this point forward, it's probably just some spotty downpours throughout the day today. Nothing that's going to be widespread. Extremely muggy out there this morning. Temperatures are in the 70s. The humidity stays up throughout the entire day today as high temperatures eventually get into the upper 80s. Heat index values in the mid 90s. Tomorrow, though, we make the jump into the triple-digit heat index values. I'll have more on that coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. We're keeping a close eye on traffic this morning as we do have those wet roads out there. You can see here I-70 at the North Split. We have a disabled vehicle there off the travel lanes, and it looks like maybe a cop is pulling over to help this person. Right now, it looks like that's not impacting the traffic flow too much in that area. Just use caution and watch for any ponding while you're heading out in your commute.
Police need your help in tracking down this man. They say he is wanted in connection with multiple fires that were intentionally set.
And after these recent arson cases, we're working for you, finding out from an expert about how those investigations work to solve those crimes. Our Aaron Lish joining us live with more details on how you can help these investigators out. Hey, Aaron.
Good morning. So when there's a fire, we're typically told that it's under investigation. So we found out exactly what those fire officials are looking for. So first off, they're going to work with Metro Police, and this is something that they're doing right now. They are looking for this suspect on your screen in these 2 pictures. This person may be connected to the 2 porch fires on Pennsylvania Street and Talbot Street that happened on the same night. And there's always some sort of evidence like that. Those pictures, John Goodpaster, who works for Forensics and Fire Debris, says that fingerprints and even DNA survives these type of fires. And along with physical evidence, they talk with victims, who they are and who they might know who has a motive. Thankfully, no one has been hurt in these fires, but you never know. That could change. So Goodpaster says vandalism is a major starter in these cases of arson and cause issues for people just beyond the homeowners.
All of those small fires, which might be nuisances or vandalism, could turn into deadly fires. And they also divert resources from the fire department that has legitimate needs, and they're then having to respond to these types of incidents.
So with that, he says, keep an eye out in your neighborhood for anything that doesn't seem quite right. If you see something, say something to police. So keep an eye out for the person in these pictures. Indianapolis Fire also says arson cases are up compared to last year. So far as of last week, they've had 109 fires that have been set on purpose. That's about a 30% increase compared to 2018. Back to you in the studio.
Aaron, thank you. A memorial fund is in place to help the family of the woman and children killed in a fiery crash on I-465. A spokesperson shared pictures of the victims, Alana Coons and 18-month-old twin girls June and Ruby. The family also released a statement through their church saying in part, quote, "At this extremely difficult time, we would like to express our gratitude to all of those who have reached out to our family following the tragic loss of Alana, June, and Ruby. They were all dearly loved by their family, friends, and they will be greatly missed." You can read that full statement and find more information about the fundraiser by clicking on this story in the RTV6 app. Friday will mark 1 year since the duck boat tragedy in Branson, Missouri killed 17 people, including 9 members of an Indianapolis family.
And our Alyssa Donovan joining us live this morning. Alyssa, the woman who survived that sinking has released a new statement.
That's right. Tia Coleman and her then 13-month-old nephew, Donovan, were the only 2 people in her family to survive that sinking. And Coleman says that crippling pain of loss continues every day. In a statement she released this week, Coleman said, "This is a time for reflection and remembrance of my precious, loving family and all the victims of a devastating, preventable catastrophe. I draw hope and energy from their memory to fight to ban dangerous, death-trap duck boats like the one that killed my family and the others." Coleman's husband and 3 children died in the accident. In September, she filed a federal lawsuit requesting an end to the manufacturing and operation of duck boats in the U.S. Now, Coleman has also created an online petition called Ban the Duck Boats to urge Congress to take action against the industry. That petition has nearly 8,000 signatures. Reporting live, Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
Alyssa, thank you. New this morning, the father of a 15-year-old boy killed in a car crash during a police chase last year is suing the police departments in Kokomo and the town of Battle Ground. Travis Abston Jr. died in a 2-car crash in Kokomo last September during a police chase. The chase started after a Battle Ground officer claimed Abston had a gun and was planning on carrying out a school shooting. Now, Abston's father has filed a suit claiming the officer made up the story about the gun and that Kokomo police engaged in a pattern of misinformation.
At 6:07, body cams will be part of the uniform for some IMPD officers for 45 days. The department answered questions about the pilot program. Now you can see here it started on Sunday. Leaders say that there's no doubt adding body cams will be good for police and the community.
For everybody that's involved in an incident, their perception may be different of what happened. That camera gives you that third eye, that unbiased recording, so you can go back and review what happened and see it firsthand.
Well, the pilot program will help to shape body cam policies and procedures. The equipment is being tested at no cost to the city.
Enjoy it while it lasts, because a landmark at the Indiana State Fairgrounds will eventually meet the wrecking ball. The swine barn will be demolished after next year's fair. It was built in 1923. Thousands of people gather in the building every year to see all of the prize hogs, including the world's largest male hog. The swine barn will be replaced with a multi-use facility called Fall Creek Pavilion. But the State Fair Commission says the historic facade of the swine barn will be incorporated into the new building. It is 6:09 right now, and it is going to be a hot one out there, Todd. Triple-digit temps headed our way.
Yeah, as we get into the coming days, we are going to be dealing with heat index values that will be well into the triple digits. So that is the bad news going forward. Right now, we're dealing with some downpours here in and across central Indiana. We have some downpours near Seymour, over towards Columbus, North Vernon. As we come in to more of the metro area, some heavier downpours that just now went south of Fishers, just south of Fortville as well, making their way into portions of Hancock County, and then back off to our west, the downpour over here towards Pittsboro and Liston as you make your way right along I-74. So we're just in this very tropical-like air mass still across the area, the remnants of what was once Hurricane Barry moving through. So it's not going to take a whole lot with some sunshine to flare things up. So yesterday we had the clouds in the morning, a little bit of drizzle. Then we got into the sunshine, and on the snap of a finger, we started to flare up those downpours. Kind of the same deal today, although they should not be as widespread with high temperatures that will be in the mid to upper 80s. Tomorrow we make the jump into into the 90s with those triple-digit heat index values. More on that coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Todd, thank you. There's a demand for the people that maintain the nation's fleet of airlines. Next in Hiring Hoosiers, what one company is doing to make sure that they'll have enough people for its planes.
And the heated debate over the president's tweets. More on the vote on what the president said about 4 women of color and how one Hoosier bucked the trend in her own political party.
It is 6:10 on your Wednesday, and we're keeping a close eye on your morning commute as we have wet roads out there and a disabled vehicle here. This is I-70 at the North Split. You can see the lights flashing. That vehicle is off the travel lanes, and everything looks to still be traveling up to speed. We'll keep a close eye out for any crashes or issues and keep you updated. Stay with us. We'll be right back just after the break.
Jetta, Tiguan, and select Atlas models.
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. Time right now is 6:13 here on your Wednesday. We're keeping a close eye on traffic for you as you're heading out to work. You can see here, this is I-65 at the North Split. No major issues here, but just a reminder, as you're heading southbound on I-65, south of downtown from the South Split to I-465, that is still closed. That is for a construction project that will last through Monday, so you'll have to take I-70 to reroute. Well, Hiring Hoosiers is our initiative here at RTV6, focusing on connecting you to jobs and training programs. The need for airplane mechanics is at a critical stage.
One study shows that North America over the next 10 years will need nearly 200,000 people to work on planes. RTV6's Rafael Sanchez joins us with a program from the classroom to career, hoping to deal with this aviation challenge.
The work done in this hangar is at the heart of what keeps the aviation industry on the move. AAR employees provide maintenance and repair services to a number of airline companies at Indianapolis International Airport. To face future challenges and demands, AAR has partnered with Decatur Central High School in Indianapolis.
Absolutely not too young. We really went to focus on this group for a reason. The aviation maintenance technician is in high demand, and in order for us to kind of create, we at AAR need to create technicians because there's not enough of them coming out of traditional A&P routes, the military, and in order to meet that demand, we needed to come up with innovative programs that can grow talent from within.
Students begin on the ground floor as a materials handler, and over the years can rise through the ranks.
I think it's a perfect career choice to get into because it offers the benefits of a lifetime.
It's like the first step to a long journey. I think it's going to be very, very helpful.
I like hands-on learning, and I feel like this would be a good opportunity because I'm not really good with books and stuff, but I can manage with books, but I think this is better for me because you actually get hands-on learning.
The end game, to create a pipeline with local skilled talent.
Hopefully, they'll be employed, stay employed, and be able to continue that pathway.
And how fitting that Decatur Central High School, the home of the Hawks, has found in AAR a place where students' careers can take flight.
Rafael Sanchez, thank you. A dramatic showdown over President Trump and racism. Last night, the House passed a resolution to condemn tweets in which Trump told 4 Democratic congresswomen of color to go back to the countries where they came from. President Trump had urged Republicans to oppose the resolution, saying it would show weakness if they voted for it. Earlier, the president had suggested his tweets were not racist because many people agreed with what he said about the female members of Congress. In the end, only 4 Republican House members supported the resolution. One of those was Susan Brooks of Indiana. The 5th District Congresswoman had earlier issued a statement calling Trump's tweets inappropriate and saying they did not reflect American values. Brooks is not running for re-election next year.
At 6:16, he's only running at 5th in most current polls, but South Bend Mayor Pete Buttigieg is tops when it comes to raising money among Democratic presidential field. As we previously reported, Buttigieg raised almost $25 million for his campaign during the second quarter of the year. Well, that put the mayor ahead of Joe Biden, who took in $22 million. They were followed up by the top 3 senators in the Democratic race, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, and Kamala Harris. Buttigieg is scheduled to be in Indianapolis tomorrow night to speak at the Young Democrats of America National Convention. Well, we certainly saw a lot of interesting ideas at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway as hundreds of people showed up to make their pitches to get on Shark Tank.
Not only were there a lot of Hoosiers there, people drove from across the country. One woman even flew in from the Bahamas for the chance to make a 1-minute pitch in hopes they would eventually get to make that same pitch to the Sharks. And they did not hold back as they promoted their ideas during the casting call. Though it was stressful at times, people from Indiana felt as though they had the home field advantage, and they gave it their best.
Once you get your own product on the market, you're addicted. I mean, you just want more products, and we always bring out products that help people.
In all, the producers of Shark Tank heard around 200 pitches. Those who made them will find out in about 2 weeks whether they'll take the next step to making the show. A very fun day out there, Todd, and I'm glad we had nice and calm weather yesterday morning, because I could not imagine if we were out there today and all that rain and then the heat.
You know, it worked out perfect. We had a few scattered showers before all the people arrived at the track, and then it was kind of cloudy and kind of breezy, and then all of a sudden we got into that sunshine yesterday, and we flared up all those downpours. So certainly the weather cooperated. Going forward, we do have some storm chances out there today, but the main weather headline going forward is going to be the hazy, hot, and humid conditions. We're about to embark on what will be the hottest stretch of weather that we have seen so far this year in central Indiana, and the problem is it's just not a one-day deal. It's going to probably take us at least 4 or 5 days to break the heat wave across central Indiana. As far as the rain goes, here's what's left. We had real heavy rain that went through around 2 to 3 o'clock, depending on where you live across the state. And this is what we're left with. Some downpours just north of Lawrence, sliding now just north of Greenfield here, right along I-70 through a good portion of the northern half of Hancock County. And then we slide off towards the east. This downpours weakened over in the Richmond area. Slide down to the south. Some just spotty downpours now from Hope up into the Greensburg area. And then we have this one downpour that's making its way on Indiana 39 just south of Liston over towards the Pittsburgh area, so along US 136 and I-74. Don't be surprised if you're traveling through Hendricks County there if you see a spot shower this morning. As far as going forward in the day, most of this will push off towards the east, but you have to remember it's still warm. It's very humid out there, and as we get into some sunshine, I am expecting some isolated downpours to flare up during the course of the day today. They will not be as widespread as they were yesterday. That's the good news, but just don't be shocked if you have a quick downpour at some point throughout the day. And then finally with sunset later on this evening, we'll take the rain chances out of the forecast. So it's a day you may want to have your umbrella handy, but you're definitely not going to need it at all times. And I love this view. All morning long I've been watching this. The clouds just quickly streaming through central Indiana. You see Lucas Oil Stadium, then you give it 5 minutes and it disappears with the cloud cover out there. Of course, you're kind of looking down, so ground level, we're not dealing with low visibility. This is 800, 900 feet above the ground. 75 degrees. The air is completely saturated. The Indians have an afternoon game today. I'm probably going to head out there and watch a few innings. There could be the chance of a spot storm, but they'll get the game in. Warm and muggy with a high temperature today, eventually up to 89 degrees. Now, tomorrow's when we start to build in the heat. These are actual temperatures. We're talking about highs tomorrow in the mid-90s, 96 degrees. You factor in the humidity tomorrow, and heat index values will be climbing up into the triple digits across the area, maybe as hot as 110 degrees. And here's what I mean by it not being a one-day deal. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, even into Sunday, we will have triple-digit heat index values. An excessive heat watch is in effect here across the area. Finally, on Monday and Tuesday, some cooler temperatures are set to arrive.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. You want to take a look at the wet roads right now. This is on the northeast side, I-69, a little north of the I-465 ramps, and you can see the rain flying up as those cars move across your screen. Just use caution because it's been so dry. We know we get a lot of oil on the roads, and when it rains this much, it can slicken things up. So be careful as you're heading to work this morning. Well, the Red Line bus system here is scheduled to be ready for riders starting on September 1st. Well, when that happens, Indigo says you can ride for free all month long. Indigo is also moving forward with its new fare system. It means you can use reloadable cards called MyKey to pay for rides. There's also a MyKey mobile app. Well, you can still pay with cash if you'd like to still do it the old-fashioned way.
Chance the Snapper is no longer on the run. Coming up, the trapper that tracked down the great Chicago Gator and the big reward he was given last night.
And coming up at 6:30, Mass Ave continues to burst with new development. We're going to show you the latest building headed into the downtown area. and what it will be once it is all finished. It's 6:22. Stay with us. We'll be back.
One furniture and mattress store, Ashley Home Store.
And welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. It is 6:25 on your Wednesday morning, and we're monitoring your drive into work here. Here's a look from our INDOT traffic camera, I-70, a little west of High School Road. Everything here is traveling up to speed, both eastbound and westbound. No crashes or delays to slow you down. Well, check out this scary scene from a beach in Maryland. A plane making an emergency landing right on the shoreline in Ocean City with vacationers watching just feet away. Maryland State Police say no one was injured in this crash. The pilot from Virginia was trying to land at the Ocean City airport when he says he started to have engine trouble. Well, he managed to glide that plane into the ocean and also managed to miss the people in the water and along the shore. Great job there by the pilot.
No kidding.
Well, he had caused quite a stir in Chicago in a neighborhood there. A gator on the loose for about a week, but now he's on the loose no more.
The gator was given the nickname Chance the Snapper after another Chicagoland hero. Wildlife officials believe the gator was illegally dumped by its owner when it was young. After several days of eluding capture in Chicago's Humboldt Park area, gator trapper Frank Robb, who came all the way from Florida, caught the reptile Tuesday morning.
When we first saw him, he went down for a minute, then he vocalized, he popped back up in one cast, and it was a done deal.
One of Frank Robb's rewards for catching Chance, well, he got to throw out the first pitch at last night's Cubs game at Wrigley Field. He also made some money, though the city of Chicago isn't saying how much it paid him and other trappers to track the gator down. You know, I don't think there has been an animal this famous in Chicago since Mrs. O'Leary's cow. And if you don't know who she is, that is the cow that caused the Chicago fire.
Right.
So
it's been a long time.
It's been a long time. Yes, yes, yeah.
That
will go down. That will go down in the history books, I'm sure.
It's funny though. You have to cast your net all the way to Florida to find somebody to come up and get him.
Well,
but
they had
makes sense, right?
They had Alligator Bob out there, but he just wasn't getting the job done.
Wasn't good enough.
Yeah,
So
they had to
go
get
straight to Wrigley Field.
A real alligator expert.
Oh yeah, it's
I like it. All right, outside right now, a few downpours continue across the area. They'll be pushing off towards the east, and well, partly sunny skies today, but it's warm and it's very, very muggy with high temperatures that'll be in the mid to upper 80s. So with the heat, with the humidity, there will be the chance of a few isolated downpours really throughout the entire daylight hours today. But the heat really builds in tomorrow. We're back into the 90s. More on that coming up when Good Morning Indiana continues. The time now is 6:27. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Now at 6:30 this morning, Metro Police are hoping you can help them find this arson suspect. What we're learning this morning as a neighborhood remains on edge.
And new details emerging about the deadly crash on I-465 that claimed the lives of a mother and her two children. What police say the driver of the semi that caused the crash was doing just before that collision.
And this week marks 1 year since the duck boat tragedy in Missouri. What one of the survivors here in Indy is saying about the last year. It's 6:30 on your Wednesday morning. Thanks for starting your day with us. I'm Meredith Barrick.
And I'm Lauren Casey. And as you're waking up this morning, you may have heard the rain come down overnight. We saw it on our way into work. And Todd, I was a little bit happy because we need the rain.
Yeah, my lawn was getting brown. I was driving around yesterday, and everybody's lawn is pretty much getting brown. I know the farmers needed a little bit of rain as well, so it was pretty widespread, and we did it without much in the way of severe weather. There was only one severe thunderstorm warning yesterday, and that was just east of Richmond. So we're still dealing with a few downpours here this morning. One to the south of Westport here, a few spotty showers in and around the Greensburg area. This band of rain kind of hovering right along I-70 through Hancock County, stretching back over towards Pendleton Pike there as you work your way out of the 465 loop, and then a few downpours near Avon and another one near Brownsburg. So don't be completely shocked if you hit a little bit of rain on your commute into work here this morning, but for the most part, the steadier, more widespread rain is pushing off towards the east, although we will maintain the chance of some isolated downpours throughout the day today because it's just going to be so humid out there today. It's not going to take a lot to flare up these downpours. As far as temperatures, we're in the mid to upper 80s today. Tomorrow, we make the jump into the 90s. More on that coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. We're keeping a close eye on traffic, though. So we have the wet roads out there, I-465 and Ditch Road. This is on the north side of town. You can see traffic moving eastbound and westbound, somewhat heavy at this early hour, but everything is still moving. We'll continue to keep you updated on any crashes or delays. Well, do you recognize the person in these pictures? Police are asking for your help since it may be the person connected to a local cases of arson.
With recent porch fires set within the same night, our Aaron Lish is live with how fire investigations work. And Aaron, there are ways we all can help as a community.
Absolutely. I mean, you know your neighborhood, so if you see something suspicious, don't brush it off. Contact police. There's no harm or foul to that. It's better to be safe than sorry. That's according to people who work at these forensic files fire cases. So if you look at the screen right now, you will see these two pictures of a person that they believe is connected to two porch fires that were just a few blocks away from each other on Pennsylvania Street and Talbot Street. You're also seeing video from a Ring camera showing the flames in the right corner of the screen. So forensic experts like John Goodpaster say with that in mind, there's always some sort of evidence, whether it be video like that or even DNA. A problem with cases like the porch fires is Goodpaster says serial arsonists typically don't have a connection to their victims, so it's harder to track. Hopefully with the pictures released, police can find who did this before anyone gets hurt.
We can hope that in this case, this might be, even though it's a number of different fires, that they remain small and largely ineffective. And so that's, unfortunately though, it's a risk that any one of these fires could then become large and quite costly and deadly.
Intentionally set fires are actually up, according to IFD. As of last year, 109 fires on record for this year. That's about a 30% increase from 2018. And if you recognize that person in those surveillance pictures, you are asked to call Crime Stoppers at 317-262-TIPS. Back to you in the studio.
Aaron, thank you. It is 6:34. The driver accused of causing Sunday's deadly crash is due in court tomorrow. Court documents shed light on what led up to this wreck and the aftermath. Investigators say that Bruce Pollard showed no remorse or emotion after being told that a family died and several other people were seriously injured. According to the probable cause, police say that he was only concerned about his personal items, medicine, and staying at a hotel. The documents also say the semi driven by Pollard was going 65 miles per hour when it caused this crash, when he crashed into stop traffic here in a construction zone. This all happened near the Keystone exit on the northeast side. Well, the Coons family issued a statement for the first time since that crash, saying, quote, "At this extremely difficult time, we'd like to express our gratitude to all of those who have reached out to our family following the tragic loss of Alana, June, and Ruby. They were all loved dearly by their family and friends, and they will be greatly missed. We are all brokenhearted by their loss, but sustained in our faith. We believe our loving Heavenly Father, who comforts his children in the midst of their most painful trials. We are steadfast and confident in knowing that our family will be reunited in the life to come," end quote.
The I-465 crash comes as state police take part in a new effort to crack down on aggressive and distracted driving around semis. ISP planned the Trooper in a Truck campaign before Sunday's tragedy. A state trooper is riding along with the trucking company Carter Express. The goal is to get a bird's eye view of dangerous driving and then dispatch other troopers to write tickets. Troopers say the campaign is not about getting you in trouble, it's about keeping you safe.
A lot of the passenger cars don't realize that these trucks take a lot of room to operate and a lot of space to get stopped or maneuver lanes. So when we start seeing passenger cars cutting these vehicles off, stopping short in front of them, again, we have serious risk of someone getting seriously hurt or dying.
On Tuesday, troopers handed out 83 tickets and warnings. The top violations include speeding and following too close.
This morning, a woman is recovering after the carriage she was driving was rammed by a truck. Park County Sheriff's officials say the crash happened around 12:30 yesterday afternoon near the county fairgrounds. We're told the truck ran into the back of this buggy. Authorities say the driver took his eyes off the road. Unfortunately, the horse had to be euthanized.
Friday will mark 1 year since the duck boat tragedy in Branson, Missouri that killed 17 people, including 9 members of an Indianapolis family. Our Alyssa Donovan is live this morning. Alyssa, a woman who survived that sinking, releasing a new statement this week.
That's right. Tia Coleman and her then 13-month-old nephew, Donovan, were the only 2 members of her family to survive that sinking. Now, Coleman says that this crippling pain from that loss continues with her every day. She released a statement earlier this week saying, "This is a time for reflection and remembrance of my precious, loving family and all the victims of a devastating, preventable catastrophe. I draw hope and energy from their memory to fight to ban dangerous death trap duck boats like the one that killed my family and the others." Coleman's husband and 3 children died in the accident. In September, she filed a federal lawsuit requesting an end to the manufacturing and operation of duck boats in the U.S. Coleman has also started an online petition to ban the duck boats. That's what it's called, on change.org. She's hoping to help urge Congress to take action against the industry. So far, that petition has almost 8,000 signatures. Reporting live, Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
Alyssa, thank you for that update. I want to issue a quick correction. That's a 13-year-old nephew there instead of 13-month-old. We'll continue to follow that story. Here at 638, community leaders in Knox County say nearly 300 people took advantage of hepatitis A vaccines. Officials offered the immunization clinic on Friday. That clinic was in response to a hepatitis A case at Buffalo Wild Wings near Vincennes. The health clinic is no longer offering the vaccine, but officials say if you or your family members ate at this restaurant, you should contact your doctor.
A Muncie city official and local contractor have been indicted on federal charges in a public corruption probe. Federal prosecutors say 44-year-old Deborah Grigsby of Muncie and 60-year-old Tony Franklin of Yorktown face a number of charges this morning. Prosecutors say Grigsby allowed the Muncie Sanitary District's administrator to steer infrastructure contracts to Franklin in exchange for kickbacks. Their arrests are the latest from a multi-year federal investigation of public corruption in Muncie.
At 6:39 here, the Circle City is welcoming a new development. Penrose on Mass Ave held a ribbon cutting yesterday afternoon. The complex is next to Old National Center. It includes 236 luxury apartments, retail space, and a parking garage. According to the website, the apartment offers studio, 1-bedroom, and 2-bedroom units. A 505-square-foot studio unit goes for a little more than $1,200 per month. We want to get a check of our forecast right now. And Todd, if we're heading out to walk the dog, what can we expect?
You know, a lot of humidity out there this morning with temperatures that are in the 70s, and there's a few isolated downpours, so you may have to avoid a few of those downpours here throughout your friend. And I think you say Draco. I think that's how you pronounce the name. Thanks for Bobby Joe for sending Draco in. She said she likes to play fetch, and so he's hoping for some good weather to get out there and play fetch. And there'll be some opportunities here throughout the day today. But we'll give you the caution paw here again because there will be some isolated downpours off and on here, not only this morning, but into the afternoon hours as well. So the bulk of this rain is moving out. So the coverage of the storms this afternoon are not going to be all that great. It's just an isolated downpour here and there in the peak heating of the day because we'll be climbing into the mid to upper 80s across the area. A few of you into the 90s with just a lot of humidity around. So we'll be able to manufacture, I think, a downpour through sunset and then they'll fade away. But tomorrow it is all about the heat and humidity. Tomorrow starts a string of probably at least 4 days in a row that high temperatures climb up into the 90s. So by Thursday afternoon, about 95 to 97 degrees. Heat index values over 105 degrees starting tomorrow as well. We'll talk more about that heat wave and when there's some relief as we get into next week coming up in just a few minutes.
Todd, thank you. Another showdown over President Trump's tweets. The official rebuke from Congress after the president targeted 4 women of color.
And did the American government once again try to weaponize ticks? Just ahead, the new investigation into a program that happened back in the 60s. It is 6:41. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Scott Tire. Let's get you taken care of.
Welcome back. A dramatic showdown over President Trump and racism. Last night, the House passed a resolution to condemn tweets in which the president told 4 Democratic congresswomen of color to go back to the countries where they came from. President Trump has urged Republicans to oppose this resolution, saying it would show weakness if they voted for it. Earlier, the president had suggested his tweets were not racist because many people agreed with what he said about the female members of Congress. In the end, only 4 Republican House members supported that resolution.
The Pentagon is investigating whether the Department of Defense ever made insects like ticks into biological weapons, and if so, whether they were ever released. Congress ordered the investigation this week into any experiments done between 1950 and 1975. The congressman who wrote the amendment says he was inspired by several books and articles that say the government used Lyme disease to weaponize ticks. The CDC estimated 300,000 people are diagnosed with Lyme disease each year. It causes several symptoms and can cause serious problems.
At 6:44 today, the drug lord known as El Chapo will learn his fate. He's expected to be sentenced today in New York. 62-year-old Joaquin El Chapo Guzman was convicted on 10 federal criminal counts earlier this year. They included engaging in continuing criminal enterprise and international distribution of drugs. He was also accused of ordering or taking part in murders and torture of more than 24 people.
Today marks 5 years since Malaysia Airlines Flight 17 was shot down over eastern Ukraine. 298 people on board the plane died. The flight was on its way from Amsterdam to the Malaysian capital of Kuala Lumpur in July of 2014 when it was shot out of the sky over territory held by pro-Russian separatists. It was announced last month that 3 Russians and 1 Ukrainian are facing murder charges in the downing of the plane. Investigators from 5 countries, Australia, Belgium, Malaysia, the Netherlands and Ukraine, say arrest warrants would be issued for the 4 suspects.
Well, drug companies and distributors pumped 46 billion opioid pain pills into American hands as the crisis exploded. The Washington Post analyzed data that a federal judge just released as part of a lawsuit. Its analysis says that in 2006, companies distributed 8.4 billion hydro and oxycodone pills. In 2012, the Post reports that they distributed 12.6 billion, a more than 50% increase. According to the CDC, prescription opioids were a factor in more than 100,000 deaths between 2006 and 2012.
We aren't the only ones who have been dealing with the remnants of Hurricane Barry. All across the Midwest and the South, people are cleaning up after flooding. This is what people were dealing with in Clark County, Arkansas. The heavy rain from Barry left behind all of this water on the roads. Several roads are underwater and some people had to be pulled from their cars. Thankfully, no serious injuries reported. And we do have heavy rain, but I am very thankful that we won't be seeing anything like that. That is the good news. There is a lot of standing water out there, though, right now because we haven't had any rain lately.
Yeah, it's just sitting out there.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we've been dealing with dry conditions across a good portion of central Indiana, but as we go forward through the coming days, it's not so much about the heat. It is about the humidity, or it's not about the storms. It's about the heat or humidity. So as we go throughout the course of the day today, the rain chances will gradually come to an end, but the hottest weather of the year is starting to make its way into central Indiana, and that's why an excessive heat watch is in place for almost the entire area. So as we go throughout the course of the morning hours, there's a few downpours out there still. One, though, is right by the Indianapolis International Airport right now, Decatur Township as well. Some light showers up towards the Speedway area, and then as we work our way off towards the east, over by the Mount Comfort Airport, some very heavy rainfall. It extends down towards the Greenfield area, impacts I-70 as well, and then some spotty showers as you make your way into the Richmond area. The heaviest of the rain, though, that came through during the overnight hours, 2, 3 o'clock. Many of you had those tropical-like downpours. So the bulk of the rain continues to make its way off towards the east, but it's hot out there. It's humid out there. It's going to result in some isolated downpours flaring up at times across the area during the course of the day today. So there could be a stray downpour or two at times throughout the afternoon and evening hours, but it shouldn't be anything widespread and nothing I don't think you'd need to cancel your plans over, but just know that it will be possible here throughout the day today as we are still in this very tropical air mass. So you see the low clouds that are out there streaming through pretty pretty quick. That damp feeling from the rainfall that we really needed across the area. 75 degrees is the current temperature. There's that humidity, and it's way up there. The dew point's at 74. Anytime you're in the mid-70s, that's typically what you'd see in Florida during the course of the summer season. But you have to remember, this is the remnants of Barry, a tropical system that came through the area during the past 2 days. So that's why we have so much humidity around as well. Highs today will be in the mid to upper 80s across the area, and that's going to result in heat index values today that are going to be up right around 96 degrees. Tomorrow we make the jump up into the triple-digit heat index values, and that puts us in that danger category. This is some dangerous heat, and the problem is it's not going to be just a one-day deal for us. We have triple-digit heat index values probably all the way through Sunday, and just because it's such a prolonged period of time, that is what is going to result in all the issues here across central Indiana, and I would expect that the excessive heat watch will be upgraded to an excessive heat warning, or at least a heat advisory in the coming days. So tomorrow, highs will climb into the mid to upper 90s across the area, but here are your heat index values by 2:30 in the afternoon. Many of you in the triple digits. By the time we get to 6:30, many of you will be approaching about 110 degrees for those heat index values. So you need to really take extreme caution in the coming days. If you suffer from heat-related illnesses, if you don't have air conditioning, go to a public library, go to the mall, go to some place that has air conditioning just to cool you off, because we deal with highs in the 90s through Sunday, and then finally some relief with lower humidity, and cooler temperatures will work their way into Monday and Tuesday.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. Here's a look at traffic right now on the south side. You can see the construction crews working on the left side of your screen. Southbound I-65 closed through Monday between the South Split and this area. So heads up if you're traveling from downtown to the south side this morning. Just a heads up as well on the northeast side. 38th Street is closed westbound at Franklin Road due to a crash involving two vehicles. Injuries reported there. We'll continue to check in with crews at the scene.
Move over almond, soy, and coconut. Camel milk might be the next big thing on store shelves. Camel farming is getting more popular in Australia, and farmers say they produce better milk because they treat their camels like family rather than machinery. Camel milk is supposed to have a similar color and texture to cow's milk, but tastes a little saltier. It's more nutritious than cow's milk, and the Australian government says it helps fight allergies and diabetes. It does come at a cost, though. In Australia, it is 12 times more expensive than cow's milk. Wow.
Happy camels come from Australia,
apparently.
Okay, well, the so-called Simba Cam is taking over the sporting world during the breaks in the action.
If you're not familiar with it, the Lion King music plays and parents hold up their kids just like in the movie. Well, last night, as Bark in the Park night at the Milwaukee Brewers game was underway, the Simba Cam had a twist.
Yeah.
Take a look. The Simba Cam featured a whole bunch of good boys and good girls last night.
Yeah, the owners there had a chance to hold up their pets in front of the camera.
And it certainly makes for one of the cutest. Sorry, I was distracted watching all the dogs. It's the cutest video we have shown
Look at that dachshund, like,
all
don't
day.
hold me up.
Oh, look at that. Oh, it's funny. There are some pretty big dogs there. You don't see any of their owners attempting to hold them up. But
yeah, Molly would be like, don't hold me up.
Yeah, that's an accident waiting to happen. All right, it has been standing on the Indiana State Fairgrounds for nearly a century, but just ahead, there are plans to replace the historic swine barn. We'll tell you those coming up.
Working for you. This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. It is 6:54. I'm Meredith Barrick.
And I'm Lauren Casey. We are working for you on this Wednesday morning, helping you to get your day started.
We have all your top stories covered, and we are keeping a close eye on traffic, but we do want to start off with Todd Clausen and a rainy morning forecast.
Yeah, we have some downpours that are still out there across parts of the area. They're not nearly as widespread as they were throughout the overnight hours, but some of you may encounter them on your commute. Here's a downpour right along I-70 through a good chunk of Hancock County towards Greenfield. Another downpour making its way through the airport here in Indianapolis, and then some showers from Greensburg over towards Cincinnati. So today's definitely not a washout of a day. We don't have as many showers or thunderstorms as we did during the day yesterday, but there will be an isolated one or two throughout the course of the day today. Temperatures will be in the mid to upper 80s. Heat index values today, though, will be in the mid 90s. Elena?
Good morning. Police are looking for a person connected to two porch fires, and we have pictures to help you get a better look. take a look at your screen right now. Police believe that this is the person connected to these crimes. They are hoping that you can identify them. They believe this person set the fires on those two porches just mere blocks from each other on Pennsylvania Street and Talbot Street on the same night. Forensic experts who go to these types of scenes say there's always going to be evidence, whether it's pictures or even DNA that survives fires. They're also trying to figure out the origin of that fire and the motive of why someone does this. If you recognize the person in those two pictures we've shown this morning, you are asked to call Crime Stoppers at 317-262-TIPS.
Aaron, thank you. A landmark at the Indiana State Fairgrounds will eventually meet the wrecking ball. The swine barn will be demolished next year after the fair. It was built in 1923. The swine barn will be replaced with a multi-use facility called Fall Creek Pavilion. But the State Fair Commission says the historic facade of the swine barn will be incorporated into the new building. Alyssa.
Friday marks 1 year since 9 members of an Indianapolis family lost their lives in Branson, Missouri, when a duck boat sank during stormy weather. Now, one woman, the survivor Tia Coleman, lost her husband and 8 other family members that day. Coleman released a statement this week saying, "This is a time for reflection and remembrance." She's also fighting to ban duck boats across the country so that other people don't have to feel the loss that she has.
All right, thanks, Alyssa. There will be the chance of an isolated downpour really at any point throughout the day today, but nothing widespread. You may want to have the umbrella handy, but you definitely do not need to cancel any plans. It's warm and muggy with highs eventually getting up close to 90 degrees, but the real heat starts tomorrow, Thursday through Sunday. Highs in the mid-90s, heat index values closer to 105 to 110 degrees.
All right, Todd, thank you so much, and thanks for joining us. We're back in 25 minutes and all throughout Good Morning America.
We hope you have a great rest of your day. We'll leave you with a live look overlooking downtown.